Most people think poor sleep is just about being busy, drinking too much coffee, or scrolling their phone late at night. But the truth is deeper. The reason you wake up at 3 a.m., the reason you toss and turn, and the reason you feel groggy even after 8 hours, it's not just lifestyle, it's biology. Research from Journal of Clinical Investigation and Nature Reviews Neuroscience shows that hidden inflammation, which is the chronic low-grade immune activation, actually fragments sleep cycles, disrupts hormone rhythms, and prevents the brain from entering deep restorative stages of sleep. That means sleep problems aren't just in your mind. They're in your cells, your immune system, and your nervous system. And once you understand that, you can finally stop blaming yourself and start healing the real cause. This is not another list of sleep hacks. This is not a collection of unproven gadgets or fads funneling you to buy supplements or products that work for a few days and then you're back to square one. I'm bringing you real medicine, and everything I'll share here is grounded in peer-reviewed human science. The kind of evidence that guides us in academic medicine. I'm Dr. Amin Hedayat, triple board certified physician, pathologist, dermatopathologist, and assistant clinical professor of medicine. Here's what we know from research. Sleep is not passive. It is an active biologic process. During healthy sleep, your body reduces inflammatory signals such as interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. Your immune defenses reset and strengthen. But when sleep is disrupted, those very same inflammatory molecules rise and drive silent body-wide inflammation. One large study published in JAMA Internal Medicine followed adults who were intentionally exposed to a cold virus. The ones who slept fewer than 7 hours a night were 3 times more likely to become sick compared to those who slept 8 hours. This is not coincidence. That is sleep regulating immune defense. And this is why I say sleep is like medicine. Think of it this way. When you sleep, your immune system recalibrates. Your hormones reset. And your brain literally washes itself clean of toxins. When you don't, inflammation builds. Your defenses weaken. And you feel it as fatigue, cravings, mood swings, and brain fog. If you're here, it means you're looking for real answers. And I want to invite you to join this community of science-based healing and human optimization. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, turn on notification, and share this with one person who probably needs to hear it. Your action will also signal to YouTube that science-based videos matter, and it helps others to discover it. This will help build healthier individuals, families, and communities. Because what we are building together is not hype, nor guesswork, nor speculation. This is reliable science made simple and human. Now, before we go deeper, I want to share something new. In partnership with a European sound laboratory that specializes in immersive audio, we have developed a science-based sleep soundscape, which is not background noise. This is carefully engineered audio designed to support the biology of sleep, and it is optimized for streaming. And it will be available for free on my YouTube channel, so subscribers can benefit from it. It uses isochronic tones that begin around 6 Hz, the frequency associated with drowsy theta brainwaves, and gradually slow to about 2 Hz, the rhythm of deep delta sleep. This gentle shift helps guide the brain toward restorative slow wave sleep. It layers slow ambient pads, which are long tones with very gradual movement, that encourage slower breathing. As your exhalations lengthen, your vagus nerve is expected to become more active. Your heart rate slows, and cortisol falls. It includes the natural sounds of rain, which is a form of continuous grounding noise that mask environmental disruptions and help prevent the 3 a.m. awakenings that so many struggle with. And it integrates low frequency tones that provide subtle vagal stimulation. Early studies suggest this kind of sound may reduce inflammation and help stabilize the nervous system overnight. Now, let me be clear. This is not a medical device, and this is not a cure for insomnia, but it is an evidence-informed tool, a safe, immersive environment that supports the physiology of relaxation, safety, and restorative sleep. Results you receive may vary, but as you align your biology towards getting uninflamed, deep restorative sleep should naturally fall in place. I'll tell you more about it later in this episode and exactly how to use it as part of your nightly routine. We're going to uncover what sleep really is, the architecture and stages you must know. We'll explore your circadian rhythm, the 24-hour clock in your brain that controls timing. We'll examine how poor sleep drives inflammation and long-term disease. We'll look at how trauma and nervous system safety determine whether you can fall asleep at night. And finally, we'll lay down the practical foundations you can start tonight to begin reclaiming your sleep. By the end of this episode, you'll understand that proper sleep acts like a potent medicine, and you'll have the first real tools to begin restoring it. So if you're ready, let's begin. Now that we understand sleep is not passive, but active medicine, let's take the next step. Here's the second thing you need to know for perfect sleep. Sleep has an architecture, or it's not one flat state of unconsciousness. It is a highly organized process with stages that each serve a very specific purpose. In sleep medicine, we divide sleep into two main categories, non-REM sleep and REM sleep. Non-REM sleep, which stands for non-rapid eye movement sleep, which has 3 stages, and REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep, which is when most dreaming happens. Let's go through them together, starting with non-REM sleep. Stage N1 is the very lightest sleep. It's the on-ramp between wakefulness and true rest. You may drift in and out. Your eyes move slowly and your muscles relax. This stage usually lasts just a few minutes. Stage N2 is stable sleep. It makes up about half of your night. In this stage, your body temperature drops, your heart rate slows, and your brain produces bursts of activity called sleep spindles. Think of spindles as the brain's save button. They protect sleep and help consolidate new memories and skills. Stage N3 is what we call slow wave sleep or deep sleep. This is the most restorative part of the night. Growth hormone is released here. Your tissues repair. Your immune system strengthens, and your brain begins its nightly cleaning cycle. In 2013, researchers published in Science that during slow wave sleep, the lymphatic system, which is a fluid-based clearance system, opens up and washes out toxins like amyloid beta, a protein associated with Alzheimer's disease and certain dementias. This means deep sleep is not only restorative, it is protective. Finally, REM sleep is rapid eye movement sleep. This is when your brain looks almost as active as when you're awake, but your muscles are paralyzed for safety. Otherwise, you may act out your dreams and potentially hurt yourself. This is dream sleep. REM sleep is where you process emotions, integrate memories, and recalibrate your stress response. Imaging studies from UC Berkeley have shown that REM sleep reduces the reactivity of the amygdala, the brain's fear center, making you calmer and more resilient the next day. Here's the key. Your night is made of cycles, A healthy sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes. It moves from light sleep into deep, slow wave sleep, then into REM sleep. And this cycle repeats 4 to 6 times per night. The first half of the night is dominated by slow wave restorative sleep. The second half of the night is dominated by REM, emotional and cognitive restoration. This is why cutting your night short, like waking up at 4 or 5 a.m., robs you of dream sleep, and going to bed too late robs you of deep, slow wave sleep. Now, let me reassure you about 2 common experiences. First, if you've ever woken up groggy and heavy after a nap or early in the morning, that's called sleep inertia. It happens when you're pulled out of deep restorative sleep too abruptly. This is not laziness. It's simply biology. Second, if you've ever thought, I don't dream, the truth is you almost certainly do. What's happening is that your REM sleep is being disrupted, often by stress, alcohol, or irregular schedules. With proper restoration, your dreaming should return. The science is very clear. People deprived of deep, slow wave sleep show higher blood pressure, higher blood sugar, and higher levels of inflammation. People deprived of REM sleep have more mood instability, memory problems, and greater risk of depression. Fragmentation of either stage, even if your total sleep hours look normal, leaves you foggy, inflamed, and less resilient. So what does this mean for you tonight? It means that perfect sleep isn't just about total hours in bed. It is about protecting the cycles, so your body and brain can complete their work. Here are 3 simple ways to support your sleep architecture right away. Protect your first cycle. The first 90 minutes are rich in slow wave sleep. Avoid alcohol, late heavy meals, or bright screens just before bed. They all fragment this cycle. Give yourself enough total time. Aim for 7 to 9 hours so you can complete at least 4 cycles. Keep your wake time consistent. A regular wake time is one of the strongest ways to protect your sleep architecture. Quick question for you. Do you usually wake up feeling groggy, or do you tend to remember your dreams? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see which part of sleep seems to challenge you the most. So the second thing you need to know for perfect sleep is this. Sleep is not flat. It is structured. Each stage heals you differently, and you need all of them in balance night after night. In part 3, we're going to dive into circadian rhythm, which is the 24-hour internal clock that tells your body when to start these cycles. If the clock is off, even perfect architecture won't work the way it should. Let me start with a question for you. What's the biggest challenge at night? Too much screen time, eating late, or irregular bedtime? Drop it in the comments so we can support each other as a community. Understanding your circadian rhythm is the third key to perfect sleep. Now that we've mapped out the stages of sleep, let's move to third thing you need to know for perfect sleep, your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is the body's 24-hour internal clock. The word circadian literally means about a day. It's controlled by a tiny structure in the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. This sits in the hypothalamus right above where the optic nerve crosses. Here's why that location matters. The SCN is directly connected to your eyes. When light hits your retina in the morning, specialized cells send a signal straight to the SCN that tells your brain it's daytime. Time to raise cortisol and wake up. And the day goes on, and evening darkness arrives. The SCN tells the pineal gland it's nighttime. Release melatonin So cortisol rises in the morning to promote alertness, and then melatonin rises in the evening to prepare you for sleep. This dance of cortisol and melatonin is one of the most important rhythms in your body. When it's aligned, sleep feels effortless. When it's misaligned, you can feel tired but wired, exhausted, and restless at the same time. We have strong evidence for this. At Harvard, researchers showed that ordinary indoor room light before bed can suppress melatonin levels by more than 50%. Another study published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences demonstrated that using a light-emitting e-reader at night delayed melatonin release by over an hour and made participants less alert the following morning. This is why many of us struggle. We spend mornings indoors with dim lights that's too weak to set the clock properly. Then at night, we flood our eyes with LED lights from phones, tablets, and TVs that tell the brain it's still daytime. If you've ever found yourself lying in bed wide awake, even though you're exhausted, that's not failure. That's circadian misalignment. Your brain probably thinks it's noontime. So how do we realign this clock? Here are 3 evidence-based steps you can begin today. Get morning light. Go outside within 30 minutes of waking. Even 10 to 15 minutes of natural light is enough to set your cortisol rhythm for the day. Dim evening light. In the last 1 to 2 hours before bed, turn off overhead LEDs. Use lamps, warmer bulbs, or dimmers. This will help to protect your melatonin release. Anchor your wake time. Try to wake up at roughly the same time every day, within about 30 to 60 minutes. Even if your bedtime shifts a little bit, a consistent wake time strengthens the circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm loves consistency. When you give it light in the morning, darkness at night, and regular timing, it rewards you with sleep that comes naturally, without forcing. So the third thing you need to know for perfect sleep is this. Your circadian rhythm is the conductor of the sleep orchestra. If the conductor is confused, the whole system falls apart. In part 4, we're going to look at what happens when this system breaks down, how poor sleep actually fuels inflammation throughout the body. And once you understand that loop, you'll see why fixing sleep is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory treatments we have. Here's the 4th thing you need to know for perfect sleep. When your sleep is disrupted, your body doesn't just feel tired. It actually becomes inflamed. And I don't mean inflammation like the redness from a cut or the swelling from a sprain. I mean low-grade, body-wide inflammation that quietly drives fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, and long-term disease risk. Inflammation is your immune system's natural defense. It's supposed to rise when you fight an infection or heal from an injury. But when sleep is cut short or fragmented, your immune system keeps releasing those same chemicals, like interleukin-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and C-reactive protein. This creates what scientists call chronic low-grade inflammation, an overactive immune signal that never fully turns off. We have strong data to back this up. At UCLA, researchers showed that just one night of partial sleep deprivation significantly increased levels of IL-6 and TNF-α the very next day. A meta-analysis published in Biological Psychiatry found that people with chronic insomnia had consistently higher levels of CRP, a blood marker we use clinically to measure systemic inflammation and cardiovascular risk. And the relationship goes both ways. Poor sleep increases inflammation, and inflammation itself makes it harder to sleep by disrupting the brain regions that regulate circadian rhythm and sleep cycles. That's why people with autoimmune conditions, chronic pain, and allergies tend to describe their sleep as fragmented. Their immune system is probably keeping them on alert. Think about the last time you pulled an all-nighter or stayed up far later than usual. The next morning, you probably felt heavy, foggy, maybe craving sugar or junk food. That wasn't just being tired or a lazy Sunday. That was your immune system releasing inflammatory molecules, shifting your metabolism and altering your hormones. Now imagine that process happening night after night for months or years. That's the silent loop that drives many modern chronic conditions. If this feels overwhelming, I want to pause and reassure you. Your body is not broken. This inflammation is not punishment. It's your biology's way of asking for rhythm and restoration. And here's the hopeful part. When sleep improves, inflammation markers tend to go down. We see this consistently in clinical studies. Your body is always ready to heal. It just needs a chance. Here are 3 practical steps you can begin tonight to lower inflammation through sleep. Protect your total sleep time. Adults generally need 7 to 9 hours. Less than 6 hours on a regular basis increases inflammatory risk. Finish your last meal 2 to 3 hours before bed. This prevents blood sugar crashes that trigger adrenaline and fragment sleep. Avoid alcohol in the evening. Alcohol may make you drowsy, but it fragments deep sleep and REM sleep, which are exactly the stages most important for lowering inflammation. So the 4th thing you need to know for perfect sleep is this. Poor sleep fuels inflammation, and inflammation disrupts sleep. It's a vicious loop, and it is built into many cultures, and many of us grew up with this. In part 5, we'll explore the next layer, your nervous system. Because even if your immune system is quiet, your body will not let you sleep deeply unless it feels safe. And once you understand that safety is the true gateway to sleep, everything else we've discussed begins to click. Stay with me. This next part is often the breakthrough for people who have struggled for years. Here's the 5th thing you need to know for perfect sleep. Your body will not allow deep restorative sleep unless it feels safe. Sleep is not just about turning off. It's about letting go. And your nervous system has to decide whether the environment and your internal state are safe enough to release control. Don't confuse this with crashing. Crashing is basically a system shutdown because resources are exhausted. Also, this is very different from medicine-induced sedation, like what you experience with benzodiazepines family or some of the sleep medications. Sleep is governed by what we call the autonomic nervous system. It has 2 main branches, the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight system, and this keeps you alert, mobilized, scanning for danger. And then there is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. This slows your heart rate, lowers blood pressure, supports digestion, and prepares your body for sleep. Deep restorative sleep happens only when parasympathetic system takes the lead. But here's the challenge. If you've been under stress all day, juggling work, family, and responsibilities, your body may stay locked in sympathetic mode, wired and alert, even when you climb into bed. And if you've lived through trauma, your nervous system may have learned long ago that stillness is unsafe. So when you finally lie down at night, your brain interprets silence as danger. That's why so many people feel tired but wired. This isn't weakness. This is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do, to protect you. This is supported by research in polyvagal theory developed by neuroscientist Stephen Porges. His work shows that our nervous system is constantly scanning for signals of safety or danger, a process called neuroception. When it perceives safety, your parasympathetic system engages. Heart rate slows, and deep sleep becomes possible. When it perceives threat, your sympathetic system remains dominant, and sleep is shallow, fragmented, or absent. We can measure this balance using heart rate variability, or HRV. Certain wearables have the ability to track HRV. Higher HRV is associated with greater parasympathetic activity and better sleep. Lower HRV is linked to stress, sympathetic dominance, and insomnia. If you've struggled with insomnia, please hear me clearly. You're not broken. Your body is not failing you. It is in fact protecting you, sometimes too much. The key is not to force sleep, but to gently teach your nervous system that it is safe. Here are 4 ways to signal safety to your nervous system before bed. Slow breathing. Try inhaling for 4 seconds and exhaling for 6. Longer exhalations activate the vagus nerve and increase parasympathetic tone. Gentle humming. The vibration stimulates the vagus nerve and calms the brainstem. Weighted blankets. Studies show that gentle pressure can increase feelings of safety and improve sleep continuity. Predictable bedtime rituals. Doing the same calming activity each night, like reading, journaling, stretching, tells your body we're safe. It's time to let go. This may feel cheesy to you at first, but it is actually shown to work effectively. So the 5th thing you need to know for perfect sleep is this: safety is the gateway. Until your nervous system feels safe, no supplement, no app, and no gadget will create deep restorative sleep. In part 6, we're going to go even deeper into trauma and stress, because for many people, it's not just today's stress keeping them awake. It's the body carrying old wounds into the night. Stay with me, because this next part may be the most important insight you've ever heard about your own sleep. Here's the 6th thing you need to know for perfect sleep. Sometimes the biggest barrier to rest isn't caffeine or screens or even bad habits. It's stress and trauma stored in the body. And I want to approach this part with care, because for so many people, these patterns run deep. If you feel comfortable sharing, what's the hardest part of winding down for you? Is it racing thoughts, tension in your body, or something else? Type it in the comments. You'll see you're not alone, and others may relate to your story. When I say trauma, I don't just mean catastrophic events. Trauma can be any experience that overwhelmed your ability to cope. Whether it was childhood stress, relentless pressure at work, challenging and traumatic personal relationships, or years of living in survival mode. Your body remembers those experiences even when your mind believes it has moved on. At night, when the world becomes quiet, your nervous system may replay those protective patterns. Instead of letting go into rest, your body stays on guard. Heart racing, muscles tense, mind racing, as if still preparing for danger. Research backed this up. Studies show that people with a history of trauma often have blunted cortisol rhythms. Cortisol should peak in the morning and gradually fall at night. But in trauma, the rhythm becomes flattened or irregular. This makes it harder to fall asleep, harder to stay asleep, and harder to reach deep restorative stages. Other studies show that trauma increases inflammatory cytokines, the very same immune signals we discussed earlier. And those molecules feed back into the brain, further disrupting sleep cycles. This is why trauma and chronic insomnia so often go hand in hand. Maybe this has happened to you. You collapse into bed exhausted, only for your mind to start racing with thoughts you don't even know you were holding. Or you wake up at 3 a.m. with your heart pounding, even though nothing is wrong in that moment. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system protecting you. It learned long ago that stillness wasn't safe. If this resonates, please hear me clearly. You're not failing at sleep. You're not broken. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do, to keep you alive. It's just that the threat is no longer there, but your nervous system hasn't yet updated the story. And here's the hopeful truth. The nervous system can be retrained. Safety can be relearned. And when that happens, sleep begins to flow naturally again. Here are a few gentle evidence-informed practices that can help. Journaling before bed. Writing down thoughts and worries helps the brain offload them, reducing nighttime rumination. Mindfulness meditation. Even 10 minutes can calm the amygdala, which is the brain's emotional fear center, and reduce nighttime arousal. Progressive muscle relaxation. Slowly tensing and relaxing each muscle group signals to the body that it is safe to release tension. Therapeutic support. For many, working with trauma-informed therapists or counselor is essential. Sleep often improves as the nervous system heals. So the sixth thing you need to know for perfect sleep is this. If your body resists rest, it may not be because of something you did wrong today. It may be your nervous system carrying the weight of yesterday. In part 7, we'll bring everything together. We'll talk about foundations you can start tonight to create the conditions for perfect sleep. And I'll remind you how to use the science-based soundscape we developed to support you along the way. This is where knowledge turns into action. We've covered a lot together in this first episode. We've seen that sleep is not passive, but an active form, acting like a potent medicine. We've mapped out the architecture of sleep, how each stage restores a different part of you. We've talked about your circadian rhythm, the clock that keeps everything in sync. We've explored how poor sleep drives inflammation. We've uncovered the role of your nervous system, why safety is the true gateway to sleep. And we've seen how stress and trauma can silently keep you awake. Now it's time to bring all of this together into practical foundations. Because here's the seventh thing you need to know for perfect sleep. Before you explore advanced tools, you need to master the basics. Unfortunately, there's no shortcuts or magic pills. These foundations are like the soil. Without them, nothing else grows. With them, your sleep cycles can finally do their job. Here are the 5 non-negotiables for sleep health. Morning light, evening dim. Get outside within 30 minutes of waking. Even 10 minutes of natural light helps anchor your cortisol rhythm. At night, dim your lights and avoid bright screens in the last 1 to 2 hours before bed. This protects melatonin. Anchor your wake time. Ideally, wake up within the same 30 to 60 minute window every day, even on weekends. Check your first cycle. The first 90 minutes of your night are rich in slow-wave restorative sleep. Avoid alcohol, late heavy meals, or emotional stress right before bed. They fragment this cycle. Wind down ritual. Choose a predictable, calming activity every evening like journaling, gentle stretching, or reading a book. Predictability signals safety to your nervous system. Environment matters. Keep your bedroom on cooler side. I know some biohackers give you temperature ranges, but I purposely don't because different bodies have adapted differently. If you're subjectively cooler and more comfortable, that can be more practical. Make it dark with blackout curtains. Keep it quiet or add steady background noise if your environment is unpredictable. Now, please hear me. You don't need to be perfect to see results. Even one change like stepping outside for morning light or dimming your room in the evening can begin to shift your biology back to alignment. Then you can gradually adopt the rest for better results. Your body is not against you. It's waiting for the right signals. And when you give it those signals, it remembers how to heal. And if you want extra support, you can try the science-based sleep soundscape we discussed earlier. In episode 2, we'll take the next step. We'll move from foundations into full 90-day protocol, a structured plan that integrates light, food timing, nervous system regulation, and sound. So you can rebuild your sleep, reduce inflammation, and reclaim your energy. Sleep can act like a potent and effective medicine. Sleep signals safety and is your most powerful hidden anti-inflammatory switch. And starting tonight, you now have the knowledge to begin turning it back on. Also, if you haven't watched the grocery shopping masterclass from week 3, please make sure you watch that video. It teaches you fundamentals that are needed to help your body get uninflamed. Thank you for your time and attention.